Hey, I'm Jim. Today, we're diving into the question that haunts thousands. Why can't you let go of the avoidant who hurt you? Do you find yourself waiting for a surprise text from them, even after being ignored time and again? That tension isn't true. Love, it's a psychological trap where the distance-reward-distance cycle repeats, forging a dangerous dependency. In this video, I'll reveal the intermittent reinforcement mechanism, why your brain gets addicted to uncertainty, and explain why those rare moments when they open up make you crave them even more. You'll learn how childhood wounds and the transformation fantasy feed the illusion that patience and unwavering love will finally change them. I'll also point out the subtle signs you're overlooking, from seeing typing that never turns into a message to the soul-crushing silence that shatters self-esteem. Plus, I'll share the first steps you can take to break free from this toxic loop and rebuild your self-worth. If you're ready to end the obsession, stop the pain, and discover true freedom in love, subscribe and hit the notification bell right now. Stick around until the end, because you deserve a relationship that's safe, secure, and fulfilling like never before. Right from the very start of your relationship with someone who has an avoidant attachment style, you might not realize it, but your brain is being drawn into a sophisticated game known as the intermittent reinforcement trap. They are not callous. On the contrary, they speak to you sweetly, occasionally send thoughtful messages, or perform warm, unexpected gestures, a midweek bouquet, a good morning wish, or a gentle hug over video call. Each of those moments lifts your spirits and convinces you that genuine connection is being built. However, just as you begin to feel secure, they pull away. They reply late, cancel dates without explanation, and stay silent when you long to hear, "I miss you," or "I'm sorry I hurt you." This is not merely disrespect, it is an intricate pattern. When they give, your brain treats it as a reward, releasing dopamine, the neurotransmitter that produces euphoria and craving. Yet when they withdraw, absence activates your search system, driving you to pursue them even harder to resolve the uncertainty. Gradually, your brain becomes hooked on that craving. Every time attention appears, you cling to it. Every time silence returns, you are reminded not to give up. This process mirrors the mechanisms of gambling or substance addiction, where slot machine players or substance users experience a high before the reward fluctuates, and a fierce craving emerges the moment the high fades. By alternating positive and negative emotional fragments, they create an invisible loop. You come to accept their absence as an inevitable part of love, convincing yourself that just one more chance will bring the miracle you seek. Meanwhile, you constantly question yourself, "What did I do wrong?" And maybe they just need more time. Those thoughts only reinforce the belief that the issue lies with you, that if you were more patient, tried harder, they would reveal their true selves and return to you wholly. In reality, the intermittent reinforcement trap drives you into a goalless race, where the motivation isn't healthy love, but the urge to control uncertainty and chase that dopamine hit. You begin to grip at every opportunity to connect, parsing the smallest signals from them, ceasing to send stickers to posting a story about a distant trip. It seems every tiny gesture holds immense meaning. Your brain marshals all its resources to decode, to await, and to hope. Yet the more you invest emotionally, the more vulnerable you become, and the harder it is to resist the trap's allure. You start neglecting friends, abandoning personal interests, and even postponing work in hopes of receiving a small sign from them, until you realize you aren't living your life anymore but are trapped in a cycle dictated by someone else. The cycle of give, withdraw, give, withdraw. This is the brutal core of the intermittent reinforcement trap with an avoidant partner. It turns what should be a relationship built on sharing and trust into a control game, where rewards are never enough to end uncertainty, and the pain of absence continually drives you on. Once you understand this mechanism, you'll recognize that true love doesn't depend on dramatic highs, but on consistency, transparency, and stability. That realization is the first step toward breaking free from the loop and reclaiming your true self-worth that no longer hinges on whether someone shows up or pulls away. After uncovering the intermittent reinforcement trap, we now turn to another deep-rooted cause: unresolved attachment wounds. Experiences of neglect, conditional love, or inconsistency with caregivers in childhood leave indelible marks in our subconscious. As adults, We unconsciously seek in others the chance to mend those old wounds, which is why a relationship with an avoidant partner can feel so compelling. Those who grew up witnessing promises broken every few days or affection, granted only after achievements, become accustomed to a pattern. Love must be earned, and the outcome is uncertain. When you meet a partner who withdraws but occasionally shows care, you feel a haunting familiarity, a chance to play out the perfect scenario, finally receiving unconditional love after a long wait. Your childhood pain resurfaces each time they go silent, driving you to try harder, hoping your efforts will make them stay. Yet in reality, you're not rescuing another person. You're chasing the idea of healing your past. Every time you strive to prove your worth, you accidentally reinforce the old pattern: love equals demonstration. This not only prolongs your suffering but also hinders your recognition of self-worth. Instead of waiting for their absolute response, now is the moment to truly understand the wound within you and realize genuine love doesn't arise from uncertainty, but from the stability, empathy, and safety you build for yourself. Building on unresolved attachment wounds, where you seek to repair your past, we now delve into another profound mystery: the power of uncertainty. During human evolution, our brains were wired to prioritize processing uncertain scenarios over familiar ones. In the wild, hidden threats and unexpected opportunities could determine survival. Applied to relationships, this principle turns every unpredictable moment into a neurological thrill. Instead of feeling exhausted, you find yourself irresistibly drawn to novel signals: a midnight text out of the blue, an unannounced visit, or a fleeting kiss after prolonged silence. Each appear-disappear cycle becomes an emotional highlight because scarcity amplifies its value in your eyes. With just one brief moment of their openness, dopamine and oxytocin surge, producing a high that far surpasses ordinary affection. This compels you to crave the next occasion, even as your rational mind warns that such inconsistency only brings pain. You begin to compare. Steady love is safe but dull, yet this uncertainty is so intoxicating, making my heart race. Before long, you accept riding these invisible emotional roller coasters, viewing each withdrawal as a challenge to overcome and every advance as a reward worthy of your efforts. At this point, the power of uncertainty transcends a mere biological mechanism. It becomes the narrative you believe you must experience to feel loved. You overlook red flags, rationalizing their retreats with excuses like, "They're busy," or "I just need more patience." Meanwhile, the psychology of the scarcer, the more precious traps you deeper in the cycle. True love isn't an auction for absence. It must be built on consistent trust. When you realize that stability is the glue for lasting connection, and that rare moments of tenderness are mere spices, not reasons to keep waiting, you'll reach a turning point. That's when you reclaim control over your emotional journey. Just as you emerge from the whirlwind of unpredictable highs, you might think relief is on the horizon. Yet, with your brain still buzzing from the dopamine surge, a transformation fantasy quickly takes root. It's the belief that, if you remain patient, empathetic, and shower unconditional love, the avoidant will eventually reveal their true self, commit fully, and become your perfect partner. You begin envisioning the future, waking up beside you each morning, sharing every concern, never retreating at the first sign of relationship strain. Every rejection is rationalized as a trial before their ultimate change for love. This powerful conviction fuels your persistence. No matter the pain, you tell yourself, "Just one more try, and I'll succeed." Reality, however, is far harsher. The transformation fantasy ignores key personality traits: a fear of intimacy, avoidance of commitment, and an inability to sustain emotional openness. Immersed in the dream of rescuing them with love, you fail to see their boundaries and inadvertently reopen your old wounds. The healing process you crave exists only in imagination, not in real-life interactions. Once you recognize you're investing in a narrative untethered to reality, you can finally step back. You release the illusion of changing someone else and redirect your energy inward. Because only by loving yourself first can you find a genuine relationship where both partners grow together, rather than you alone striving to transform the other. Once you begin to see the transformation fantasy as nothing more than a self-crafted script, the next step in your awakening is confronting validation, addiction, and the sunk cost fallacy. Every time the avoidant grants you a sliver of attention, a compliment, a surprise late-night text, or a rare warm date, your brain immediately administers a shot of dopamine and oxytocin, flooding your system with feelings of being valued and alleviating loneliness. This is no longer healthy love, but a deepening dependency. You crave that attention so intensely that you overlook warning signs, accept their inconsistency, and readily justify their silence or avoidance. Simultaneously, the sunk cost fallacy begins to cloud your judgment. I've invested too much already. If I leave now, all this effort and emotion will be wasted. You recall the carefully chosen gifts, the sleepless late-night talks, the countless moments you'd stifle tears to keep peace for them. These memories become proof of your relationship's still alive warmth. Yet it is the belief that what's lost cannot be regained that makes letting go so agonizing for a wounded heart. In this state, you find yourself locked into a vicious cycle. The more you seek validation, the more you lose sight of your intrinsic value. Each time they reappear, you think you're freed. Each time they abandon you, you demand more. You tell yourself, just a little longer, everything will change. In truth, that's the voice of the sunk cost fallacy urging you to continue investing even when it harms you. Recognizing these two mechanisms is the key to breaking the chains. You must retrain your mind to understand that your worth isn't measured by their attention, and choosing to walk away isn't admitting failure, but protecting your emotional energy. Remember, genuine love arises not from scarcity, but from trust and consistency. When you stop chasing short-term fixes and accept that your past efforts have been lessons in growth rather than debts owed, you truly step out of the shadow of dependency and open the door to a positive, sustainable love. Once you've recognized the intermittent reinforcement trap and overcome validation addiction along with the sunk cost fallacy, an even subtler bond emerges, the trauma bond. This cycle is etched into your psyche when repeated pain alternates with rare moments of affection, like a hot and cold game that cements your heart to the avoidant partner. Each brief opening feels like salvation. Each withdrawal reignites emptiness that drives you to strive for that dose of love. This creates a powerful psychological tether known as a trauma bond, making it nearly impossible to let go despite the pain. Even more concerning, many people begin investing their identity in the roles of the patient partner or the healer, seeing themselves as the only one capable of understanding and rescuing their other half. Your sense of self becomes proof of loyalty and endurance, to the point that losing the relationship feels like losing yourself. The line between love and self-sacrifice blurs, and you start believing that without continued endurance, you are worthless, undeserving of the ideal lover title. That's when you need to pause and ask yourself, am I loving them, or am I living out a role I created? Only by realizing that your identity shouldn't hinge on a toxic relationship can you find the courage to cut the trauma bond and reconnect with your authentic self, someone who doesn't need relentless patience to deserve love. We've unpacked everything from the intermittent reinforcement trap, unresolved attachment wounds, the lure of uncertainty, the transformation fantasy, validation addiction, the sunk cost fallacy, to trauma bonds tied to identity. Each stage sheds light on why relationships with avoidant partners can leave us dependent and wounded. Now that you recognize these mechanisms, you hold the key to your freedom, letting go of illusions, breaking the chains of hurt, and reclaiming your intrinsic worth. Start by setting clear boundaries, nurturing self-respect, and seeking safe, reliable connections. If you found this journey enlightening, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos. Thank you for staying until the healing begins the moment you dare to let go.